Hey, here's a fun game you can play at home while you listen to The Ron Van Dam Show. Do a shot of your favorite alcohol every time Ron sighs or makes a grumpy sound. No, hold on, I'm kidding. Please don't do that. You will die from alcohol poisoning. You are listening to The Ron Van Dam Show on New England Broadcasting.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's the Ron Van Dam Show.
Really?
Hold on tight. Things can get a bit weird, if you like that sort of thing.
Wow. Sounds good. You mean to tell me I can listen to the Ron Van Dam Show every weekday for free and not pay a dime? Well, that's true, but your mental capacity will diminish considerably. Those brain cells don't grow back, kids. I'm telling you. Not only can you not regrow brain cells, you can't just pour water on them like a chia pet. Once the brain cells go, they don't really come back. Same with the hair follicles on top of the head. You can put all that crap on it and stuff, but the hair ain't no, it's not gonna come back where the bald spots are. Okay, good. How you feeling now? I know I've got hair growing out of my ears and growing out of my nose now for some reason. I don't know if there's hair growing out of my ass because I can't see it. So if anybody has a large mirror I can borrow for a couple of minutes, I'd appreciate it. Well, what day of the week is this? Is this Thursday again? No. Oh, it's Friday now. Wow. That sucker flew by, huh? Now the weekend's coming up. This is the Friday weekend edition of the program. I don't do another one of these until Monday, which is the next weekday after this one. So this is going to have to hold you. So eat a little extra today. All right, that's enough. Hey, welcome to the program. How are you today? How you doing? Thank you very much. Thank you. Please sit down. Please. Oh, this is too embarrassing. Please stop. Sit down, please. Okay. Welcome to the program. Thanks for coming, by the way. Many of you, because it's cold outside, had checked your coats out in the lobby before you came into the studio. I have news for you. When the show is over, your coats will no longer be there. I don't care if we gave you a little ticket when you came in or not. Your coats will be contributed to people that need coats. You don't need coats. There are people that need coats, and it shall be distributed amongst them. That's how I give back. I take your coat and I give it back to somebody who's not you. Okay, good. In many parts of the country, it's really cold outside. They say that if you expose your skin to this type of cold for more than like half an hour, then your skin will fall off and your insides will fall all over the sidewalk. I know. It's like a popsicle. It's like a popsicle. Did you ever drop a popsicle on the ground when it was like 0 degrees? Popsicle like fell into 1,000 different pieces. That's you. Okay. Enough of the fun. I'm starting to get a little bit concerned, and I'll tell you why. I don't know how old you are. I know how old I am. I don't know how old you are, but you're getting older too, okay? And many of the people that I grew up with, both musically and in movies and things like that, they're starting to go bye-bye off the planet, if you know what I mean. I don't know if you've heard the news, but we learned this morning that singer Meatloaf had passed away. Grew up with a lot of his songs. I used to do wedding videos as a side business way back, and when they had wedding videos, and that Meatloaf song, I Would Do Anything for Love, Dashboard Light. These were songs that were played at every wedding, and so I grew up with that, you know, and part of my adulthood, I would hear that like every weekend. And his songs were not songs, they were little operas, they were little plays. He would take on characters within the song. They were dramatic and very heartfelt. An incredible performer. He has passed. It's funny, but not, that when somebody dies who's like approaching your age group or in your age group, you start to feel a loss, and you say to yourself, uh-oh, that's the response. Meatloaf died? Uh-oh, it's getting closer to me. Yeah, and the older you get, the more you ask this question, what did they die of? It could be, you know, I'm sorry that they're not here anymore, but like what happened to them? Because I have to know. I have to make sure I'm not doing whatever they did for this to happen. Meatloaf died at the age of 74, I believe he was, which is too young for that. I mean, that's young. It really is. These days, that's really young. I did a little research, found that Meatloaf had a multitude of physical problems, and within the past few years, he's been practically immobile. He has suffered later in life from severe respiratory problems. He had collapsed on stage many times within the past decade, and then some. Basically because of respiratory problems. Never revealed, but apparently was the case. Has had a number of strokes. Recently, almost immobile, not walking around at all, really. So he had some physical situations that apparently caught up with him. The cause of death has not been revealed yet, but the number of strokes he has had kind of, throws it in that direction. His wife was by his side when he passed. So it was, kind of known that this was going to possibly happen, and it did. So we give you that bad news. But it is interesting how our response is sadness, because these are things we, existed with and now not. But again, what happened? I have to know what happened. I've got to know what happened. That's not enough information until I know what happened. I didn't do any research as to how he got the name Meatloaf. One assumes he was overweight for most of his life. One assumes he loved meatloaf. I love meatloaf too. I don't know if that's the reason that he called himself that. Maybe someone in school called him that. It's not exactly a complimentary nickname. Hearing someone across the room yell, "Hey, Meatloaf," is not a compliment in its purest form, but was a compliment to this individual because of his great talent. Anyway, there you have it on that one. I have an interesting guest coming up a little bit later in the program. She is going to discuss, she's an expert in this field. We're going to discuss Roe versus Wade, Roe v. Wade. Just the V with a period is enough. The individual states now are making up their own Roe v. Wade rules and overturning them. And the courts, because Trump loaded them with conservatives, the courts are on the verge of overturning Roe v. Wade, which has existed for decades and decades and decades. So that is of great interest. That'll be coming up a little bit later in the show, and we're going to learn exactly what that's all about and what the ramifications are of these court decisions. And we'll do that a little bit later, as soon as I have a few drinks, I guess. I don't know, maybe. We'll see what happens. Halfway through the show, by the way, if you're part of the studio audience, hey guys, how are you? If you're part of the studio audience, we do pass out finger sandwiches halfway through the show. They're disgusting, and they've been sitting out for about 3 days in a strangely environmented room. So they taste horrible. You'll probably catch some disease if you eat them, but nonetheless, I offer them to you. Of course, we have no studio audience for many reasons. One is I don't like people near me, and secondly, well, that's pretty much it. I don't like people near me. What more do I need to explain? But thank you for being here anyway. I love doing radio. I love this. I've been doing this again for like over 3 decades, and I love it because I don't have to interact with anybody face to face. It is so nice. It's like a vacation. Anyway, oh man, I don't know. I'm not sure. I've stopped wearing sweatpants because I think when you wear sweatpants at any point during the day, you've just given up. You've just said to the world, I don't care what I look like anymore. I'm going to be comfortable. Screw you. Yeah, that's what sweatpants do. Sweatpants? I did a show about this about a month and a half ago. And basically it was like, that's a horrible name for pants. It's bad enough that you're wearing pants around your privates down there and that you're sweating between your legs like you do between your arms. That's disgusting. But to publicly acknowledge I'm wearing pants that I'm sweating into, that's not a pretty phrase. It's not a pretty thought. But we wear the sweatpants. People wear sweat. It started when they were just working out, like I'm gonna work on my legs, my abs, and my knees, and my corns, and my flutes, and my pips. My abs, my shoes, my do's. That's where I'm concentrating today. So I'm going to work out, and I'm going to work this out. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to work it out, but I'm going to wear my sweatpants because that's what I wear. I'm going to be sweating into my pants, and that's what I'm doing today. I'm working out. I'm going to work it out. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I'm going to work it out. But that changed. Now people wear sweatpants as a fashion statement when they go out to Walmart. Putting signs at the doors of stores when you go shopping, they say, please wear a mask. They should also have a sign next to that saying, please wear regular pants. Don't wear sweatpants into our public facility, please. Your pants are going to sweat all over the floor. People are going to do slip and falls and sue us. Don't wear sweatpants out in public, please. When I was growing up, back in the frontier days in 1627, back then, women would, especially on Saturdays and Friday afternoons, they would go out in public with their hair in curlers. That has changed because people don't really have hairstyles that involve tremendous curls anymore. Thank God. They used to take beer cans and wrap their hair around beer cans and fasten them to their heads and walk around clanging all day like some kind of like dilapidated freight train. But so I used to see these ladies, all different ages, walking around in horrible house coats, they called them, with their hairs in curlers, and they went out in public like that. And you would say to them, why are you walking around in public with curlers in your hair? And they say, because I'm going out tonight and I want to look nice. Well, you're out now and you don't look nice. So, like, what the hell are you doing? If you're going to put curlers in your hair, stay home. Don't go out. What are you projecting to the world? I'm really ugly this way, but I won't be later. Women in curlers, come on. Don't do that anymore. Women these days, and thankfully so, wear their hair rather straight. There are no flips going on, no curls, and we do have accessories now where you can curl or flip your hair if you're into that shit, with a hot iron or something, or a branding iron, like Triple A Ranch, barbecued on your ass. I don't know. I have no idea what you do with those hair curlers. I don't know what they're... Flat irons. I'm not sure. When I was growing up, girls used to take their long, beautiful hair, and to straighten it, they would put their hair on the ironing board while it was still attached to their head, and they'd iron their hair. And even when I was younger, I felt like tapping these girls on the shoulder and saying, you're fried. Your hair is fried. Your brains are fried. I think that's how your brains got fried. The iron got a little too close to your skull. You're ironing your hair? Oh, my God. Do you realize that's probably not good for your hair? Oh, I've been doing this for years, and it's perfectly fine. Okay, I'll meet up with you in about 20, 30 years. Tell me how your hair's doing then. What the hell's wrong with you ironing your hair? What, are you putting spray starch on it? Why don't you just put your head in the washing machine? God. But these days, thank goodness again, the hair thing is much, much simpler, much less involved. Yeah. Things change, man. They change, man. My guest is going to join us momentarily. We're going to talk about Roe v. Wade, which sounds like a boxing match on Showtime, doesn't it? Hey, who's fighting? You going to watch the fights tonight? Yeah, on Showtime. They got the fights tonight. Oh, who's fighting? Roe. Oh, Roe is tough. Wow, have you seen Wade box? No, I haven't. Wade is pretty tough, too. This is going to be a hell of a match. Roe v. Wade. Yep. They're going 12 rounds, and it's going to be fascinating. I predict Roe is going to knock out Wade in the third round. No way. Wade's going to take out Roe. It might go all the way by decision, but I'm telling you, that's going to be a hell of a match. I know. Where are you sitting? I'm about 3 rows back in the center. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, this is going to be a hell of a... You going to bring anybody? I'm going to bring the woman with me. She likes boxing? She loves boxing. Who's she for? Roe. I'm for Wade. It's going to be a little difficult, our relationship. But this is going to be... whoa. And when Roe comes out of the locker room with his entourage... Whoa. Now, Wade's pretty impressive, too. Have you seen that glitter robe that he wears? No, I haven't. It's going to be crazy. Oh, wow. It's going to be a hell of a match. I know. I know. All right. We'll take a short commercial break. And when we come back, the match will ensue, and we will discuss. All right? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Ain't always easy these days to know what to give your kids for snacks. Sugary this, high fructosey that. Heck, even the stuff they call natural ain't always natural. But there's one snack when your kids ask for it, you know exactly what you're giving them.
I want piggy parts. I want piggy parts.
Professor Parker's preserved piggy parts are 100% all-natural salt-preserved pig parts. What parts, you ask? Well, some folks would call them scraps or ears or hoofs, but kids just call them delicious. And with their stiff, leathery texture, one Professor Parker's preserved piggy part will last a kid all afternoon. That's what we call value. So stock up now for school. You'll find them at the end of the pet food aisle in original, barbecue, or vinegar, garlic, teriyaki, onion, habanero, pineapple flavor. Give them a try and you'll see why kids say,
That's some good piggies.
Professor Parker's preserved piggy parts.
National expert Kimberly Inez McGuire joins us now, and we're talking about Roe v. Wade. I can't believe that we even have to talk about this, but here we are, unbelievably. Thanks for being with us today.
Happy to be here, even if it's a tough moment that we find ourselves in.
Yeah, it's I can't believe it, actually. Let me start from the beginning as far as what I, as a layperson, knows. I thought this was decided by the courts long ago in a federal situation. Why is this coming up?
That's such a great question. 49 years ago, the Supreme Court upheld Roe v. Wade, basically saying abortion is legal in all 50 states. And honestly, I wish that I could say that was the end of the story. Unfortunately, what has happened is every year since then, and especially in the last 10 years, state legislatures have pushed and prodded to try to undermine and actually eventually shred Roe v. Wade, so that even though abortion is technically still legal, a lot of people can't access it. And we are now in a situation that has been taken to such an extreme that you literally cannot access abortion in the entire state of Texas. Mm-hmm. And what we're seeing is that these politicians have figured out, they've looked at the Supreme Court, they've seen that there are 3 Trump appointees on that court who were put there specifically to overturn Wade. And so whereas a few years ago, a law that made abortion basically inaccessible would have been struck down as unconstitutional, this same court, we think, is going to uphold those laws. Yeah. Because actually, they don't respect that precedent. They want abortion to be a crime.
Yeah. Again, I don't understand how you can overturn something that was already decided. Would it legally be the fact that Roe v. Wade, the decision 50 years ago, was incorrect? Is that what they're saying?
I mean, they have the ability to say that, right? We have seen courts, uphold, certain laws and then strike them down. I mean, you can look at something like the history of civil rights in this country, mm-hmm. where you had, Supreme Court upholding separate but equal and then, striking that down, right? So there is, the court can, in some ways, they can interpret the Constitution how they like. And so again, we have people on the court who they said before they even got to the Supreme Court that they don't think abortion is a constitutional right.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that I understand. That's the attitude. If it was overturned, would that be a federal decision, and no state could still continue as they are now? Would that say federally that no, states, you can't decide on your own?
So, not quite that bad, but still pretty bad.
Okay.
So if Roe v. Wade was struck down, the decision would go back to the states. And as things stand today, about half of the country already has laws on the books that say if Roe falls, abortion is illegal. So we would end up in a situation where in half of the country abortion is accessible, and in the other half of the country it's completely inaccessible.
Okay. All right. Well, it's not as bad as I thought, but it's still real bad. It might even change where people decide to live in the future.
I mean, absolutely. I was in conversation yesterday with a friend of mine who's studying to be an abortion provider. Yeah. And she's trying to decide where to go to study to continue her medical education. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, I can't go to half the country where abortion is about to be illegal. Right? Yeah. So this is a real concern. But unfortunately, many people don't have the option to move, right? I mean, people are living paycheck to paycheck, especially in this pandemic. Yeah. I think about, communities in South Texas who are, 6-8 hours away from even the Texas border.
Yes.
Right? So the idea of being able to leave the state is like, it's impossible.
Yeah, and it would only divide the country that much more, and it's bad as it is. I assume that contacting one's representatives, congressional representatives, wouldn't make much difference if it's a court situation.
Well, there actually are some good options available both at the state and federal level.
All right.
So we do have multiple pieces of legislation that, if passed at the federal level, would support abortion access even without a court decision. So it's something called the Women's Health Protection Act to go a long way to protect abortion access. We actually have seen congressional votes on that, so you can contact your senators and congresspeople and say, hey, support the Women's Health Protection Act.
Yeah.
You can also contact your state legislator, because at the end of the day, if this goes the way we think it will be, the Massachusetts legislature, the Maryland legislature, the Nevada legislature that decides whether abortion is legal or not in that state. Mm-hmm. And so it also means getting involved at the state level.
Yeah. That makes sense as well. That doesn't necessarily solve the problem, but it does make it more workable, I suppose, which is better than nothing. It's just a sad situation. It just really is. Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, it's such a tough moment. I will say, though, people are fighting back, and that's what gives me hope. People are saying, you know what, we have always needed abortion, we have always had abortions, and we're going to take care of each other. And if that means leaving, helping our friends leave the state to get an abortion, we're going to do that. For some people, they're going to be ordering abortion pills online. Yeah. So are going to figure out, at least some people will be able to figure out how to get an abortion. Unfortunately, there will be people who will be forced to become parents, who maybe weren't ready or didn't choose that for themselves.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. And again, you can hop a border from New Hampshire to Massachusetts if the case may be, but why should you even have to do that? It's a bad taste. A lot of it is it based on one's definition of where life begins? I mean, I can even somewhat understand it, although on the other hand, I don't. It's a kind of conflicting in my head, but you don't pass laws on people's health and such. Does this Roe v. Wade thing involve rape, incest, that kind of thing?
What we've seen in recent years is that the people who want to make abortion illegal, they've kind of stopped pretending that there are any abortions that are okay.
Yeah, I see.
And so the people who are pushing these laws, what we're seeing in Texas is the ban technically starts at 6 weeks. Yeah. You don't know you're pregnant until maybe 6 weeks. You may not know you're pregnant until 8 weeks, right? Just based off of how menstrual periods work. So, the agenda really is to make abortion illegal. And, I will say, as someone who recently became a single mother, I chose that path for myself. And I'll tell you, carrying a baby for 10 months is really hard. Giving birth is really hard. And being a parent is really hard. And no one should be forced to do that, for whatever reason, right? And whatever their reason is, that's good enough for me. I don't need somebody to prove to me that their reason is good enough. Right? Because at the end of the day, right, this is about our health. This is about our freedom. And it's disturbing, honestly, how some of these politicians want to be very, very involved in our lives.
Yeah, well, they have all kinds of reasons for doing that. They're basically political.
Absolutely.
That seems to be the reason for everything, and that is the worst reason for anything. All right. How do we get involved once again, please? And where would we go for more information?
Absolutely. So you can go to urge.org for more information about how we're fighting against abortion bans and other attacks on reproductive justice. You can also come to our event. We're having a Roe Roundtable, and you can RSVP for that at bit.ly/Roe, ROE Roundtable, bit.ly/Roe Roundtable. And you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at urge_org.
Yeah. Okay, great. I think that most politicians, if we're going to go political, should realize that if this does go through, that their popularity and careers might be in jeopardy. So they might want to rethink this whole deal. Okay.
You better believe it. And you know what?
Yeah.
I hear there's an election later this year, so some
Yeah.
people might show up and show their displeasure.
Yeah, I heard about that too. All right. Thank you so much for your time today, Kimberly. Well, that'll do it for me today. You've been wonderful. I don't know how you do this. I really don't. You get up in the morning, you get dressed, you put on sweatpants, you listen to the show, you have some food, and you go back to bed. I don't know how you do that. Well, I guess I just said how you do it. But that's like, wow, that takes balls. I'll be back again on Monday with a brand new show. I hope. Now, for some reason, all of a sudden, I don't know how to talk. So have yourself a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, whatever you do, whatever. And I wish you peace.